I tell you what, before I came to Christ, I was into all kinds of stuff, man. It was amazing. I got into the occult. Um, I was raised in a Christian Christian cult, homeschool cult, and they believed all kinds of strange stuff. They believed. So I was raised in a Christian home, but the cults that we were a part of believed in a lot of strange stuff. They believed in you couldn't listen to secular music. They believed you couldn't listen to a lot of Christian music, and it was really through that experience that I came to get involved in Satanism, and started at a very young age. You know, in my teens, I wanted to be the Antichrist when I was a teenager, and I read the Left Behind books and wanted to be the Antichrist, and it was quite a dark time in my life, and so Satan started to gain a stronghold when I was very young, and it was interesting because as it was getting into Satanism, full blown Satanism was a gradual, and Satan worship was a gradual thing. I started to rebel against my parents when I was a teenager. Um, I said I wasn't a Christian anymore, and um, I got into a rock band when I was about 19 and in my early 20s, and they performed a satanic ritual over me. You might have heard the stiff as a board, light as a feather before, and they kept chanting that over me and drew a pentagram in a field where we went out to with me and my friends who I was in the rock band with, and we sort of made fun of the fact that our parents were real all conservative, and one of my friends, his dad was a preacher, and we watched this thing called Hell's Bells, this video about the evils of rock music, and really how rock music was influenced by a lot of satanic stuff. And so that got me sort of interested in Satanism. And also, when I was younger, I wanted to be a filmmaker. And so as I got older, I reverted back to wanting to be a filmmaker. As I got older, got out of the rock band, I quit, and I I started researching like Star Wars and what was behind Star Wars, and found out that a lot of it had to do with the occult and had to do with witchcraft, Mexican witchcraft, which is what the Force comes from. It comes from a witch doctor called, his name was Carlos Castaneda, and he was an Indian witch doctor, and he had a mentor, which is where the Padawan and master relationship, or the apprentice master apprentice relationship in Star Wars comes from, is from this book called Tales of Powers. And so I started reading that book when I was in my early 20s and getting ready to go to college for filmmaking. I was in college at the time for journalism, but I was switching over to filmmaking. And so I started to rent these books from the college library, and rented some other books on the occult and on shamanism. And that started me down a road of just getting into actual Satan worship, and I would come up with these ideas for these movies, like horror movies or like dark fantasy movies. Like one was about some kids in a rock band who they come into contact with this demon. It was almost like a story, almost like a hell horror story version of E.T., and they become friends with this demon named Lester, and they get into Satanism and worshiping Satan, and they get these powers to play music unbelievably that this demon gives to him, and he even plays with them on stage, and nobody can see him except for them. And he's sitting there, giving them the power to play their music. And so, I had this stuff, and I had another horror story called Hatchet Hill about a Indian witch doctor who died on the Trail of Tears in Oklahoma and put a curse on the ground where he died. And he comes back from the dead and starts killing people in the movie that I was writing with my friend. And so, as I got deeper into Satanism and began reading, parts of the Satanic Bible online, I never actually owned the Satanic Bible, but I would read parts of it online. And, as I got older, I just do what thou wilt became my motto, and eventually got me into crime and criminal life and drugs. That's ultimately where it led me, was into drug use. And I've seen all kinds of wild spiritual stuff. I've seen demons. I've talked with demons. It's crazy. And really, just after getting into the life of crime and being a gangster for a while, and an Irish mob guy, I just got in so much trouble with the law. I had so many drugs and things I'd been through that I just turned my life completely over to Christ. For a while I got out of Satanism and claimed to be a Christian, but I was still living the mob life and got into trouble with the law, and God got me out of it. It took me many years, and it was so dark, being into Satanism and drugs and all of that. I can't explain to you the dark. I used to wear a pentagram around my neck, and I remember one of the girls I used to hang out with, she told me how creepy that was, and I went and threw it away. Not too long after that. But, it's just, man, it's amazing what God will do in your life when you turn it over to Him. And if you're not saved, I just want to tell you that Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. He's healed me of all kinds of stuff, of anxiety. I have to take psych meds now from doing drugs. And, I used to get bad depression and anxiety, and God's cured me and healed me of that. And He can do the same for you. He can heal you no matter what you're going through. And He doesn't always choose to heal our physical ailments like cancer and things like that. But I don't think it's His will for us to go through being anxious all the time and not be at peace and not have peace of mind. And God will give you that peace of mind. Jesus will give you that peace of mind. So if you haven't accepted Christ and asked for forgiveness of your sins, I would just encourage you to do that, and encourage you that, if I can come from a place of darkness like I came from, then Christ can enter your life and do many great things for you that you wouldn't believe possible, and give you a whole new life that is beyond what you would possibly ever imagine. If you want to read my book, it's in the description. I've got it up for free online. It's called From Hell to Heaven, about how I was a Satanist, gangster, mobster, Irish mob, and how I came to Christ. So if you want to read it, you're more than welcome to, for free, on Wattpad.com. So anyway, and I'll have other videos up here like I have for the Christian YouTubers. So just keep me in prayer, and just hope that my testimony is a blessing to you. God bless.